Today is World Mental Health Day, an important topic and a great opportunity to address some serious issues. So joining us to talk more are intensive outpatient program therapists Michaela Purcell and Ashley Cleveland. Good morning, ladies. How you doing? Absolutely. Like I just introduced, you know, this can bring on some tough issues to talk about. But in your professional opinions, why is it important that we have these kinds of conversations?
Sure. I think it's so important that we have these conversations because 1 in 5 people deal with mental health concerns, and so that's quite a bit of people. And so we want these people to know that they're not alone in how they feel and that there are helpful resources out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest things too. People oftentimes when they get in these situations, they do feel like they're not alone. But you know, just talking to someone can help you realize that is not the case, and having folks like yourself, important resources, is very helpful. So for viewers who may not be familiar, what exactly is an intensive outpatient program, or IOP?
So IOP is a program who can help people. It's really helpful for people who say have been in inpatient hospitalization for mental health purposes and they need a step-down program, or they just need more intensive help, like maybe step down from the hospitalization to 3 days a week. But it's for people who just need a little more help than just once or twice a month. So it gives them a little bit more support as they're transitioning back from like hospitalization back into the home, and it's open to people who have also not been in the hospital, just people who need a little extra support.
Absolutely, and that's kind of transitioning into my next question, because who would we say would benefit the most from participating in this type of program?
Yes, I would say anyone dealing with anxiety, depression, trauma, grief. We see a lot of people with a lot of different mental health concerns, and bringing all those people into a group setting is a really special process. And so anyone dealing with any type of mental health concern can kind of come and see us. I think that, I think of IOP as kind of a bridge between traditional therapy, where you're only seeing someone about one hour per week or 1 hour bi-weekly, and those patients who are maybe not wanting to go to inpatient or transitioning out of inpatient. So patients who just need a little extra care.
Absolutely. And you said at the beginning of what you were just saying, like the different things that can lead to folks who may need these programs. You might, college students, going through a lot of anxiety, being away from home, or just depression, different things, the seasons, all of that can cause you to, kind of hit that state of depression a little bit. So how does an IOP differ from that traditional therapy or inpatient treatment, you'd say?
I would say the main thing is, the amount of time, the multiple times a week, but also just kind of having that extra level of support, and it just gives you a little bit more time to process, a little bit more area to kind of think about what's going on and get the help that you need and have the coping skills. And our ultimate hope for our patients is that they will take what they learn from our IOP program and be able to use it or modify it for their daily lives.
Absolutely. And when it comes to your IOP program, what would you say helps it stand out from others?
Yes, so our IOP program, we have 5 locations throughout the state, in-person locations. So we have Madison, Muscle Shoals, Daphne, Birmingham, and Montgomery. And we also provide virtual mental health telehealth sessions as well. So we try to be as accessible as we can to patients with our services.
Absolutely. Look, let me tell you, everybody's using social media, phone calls, but those things are really needed right now. Really when people say help is just a phone call away, you guys mean that, because now people can reach out to you via over the cell phone. You mentioned that your program offers both in-person and virtual options. How does that help make care more accessible, whether it's for someone who might be a little older or younger?
Sure. I would definitely say with the option, you have that, if you want to come in person, you have that face-to-face ability with people, but also if you're not able to come in person, say like you've just had a surgery or you have something going on where you can't leave home, or it's just not easy to get there, or maybe you're not local to a certain location that we have available, virtual can be very helpful.
Absolutely. And are you guys seeing like a healthy balance of both per se, or a lot of people are really using that virtual option as well?
Yes, I would definitely say that people are using the virtual option. I know that people like to, like you said, this is the age of technology,
Yes.
and so people
Yes.
like convenience, and so I think that it's so convenient for people, like Ashley said, who maybe not live locally, or people who are unable to get out of the house or have trouble commuting day to day. So
absolutely, definitely. So whether people are calling in person or calling or going in person, what types of therapy or skills do participants learn during the program?
Many things really over the time. We do different modalities of therapies that help just depending on kind of what the clientele needs. In the treatment plans that we do are person-centered treatment plans, so everybody gets their own, and we just work on what they need to work on. They can expect things like we work on coping skills, we work on trauma, depression, and anxiety. We've had people who have relational issues and things like that. So it really is, as far as what we treat and what we see, it's really broad.
Absolutely.
And so we're happy to be able to bring that to people.
And that's good to know, because no one person is the same.
Exactly.
No one person is coming from the same background. Everybody has their own story, and they might need some techniques for themselves that somebody else may not have. I've had to learn some skills of my own throughout my own process. So like everybody's different. So to know that you all are taking the time to really learn your clients and helping things that they are dealing with specifically. I think that's really just great and tells a lot. What are some of the biggest changes or improvements you see in people who go through your IOP?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I see different than maybe individual or individual therapy is that I see growth super fast within IOP. I think that the group setting really makes a big difference. Building those relationships. I think people dealing with mental health concerns often feel so isolated. And so being able to be in a room where people are experiencing similar, everyone's different and have their own situations, but they have similar feelings and similar concerns. And I think that that really helps with the growth process.
Definitely. Now, like we said at the beginning of all this, people hear therapy or IOP and they might be like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna just keep to myself. But what would you say to encourage someone who might be watching and struggling with some of the issues that we've mentioned, whether it's coping, anxiety, depression, whatever their mental health situation is, but doesn't know how or where to start?
Right. I would say that's that can be one of the biggest challenges is, being able to take that first step or having the courage to take that first step. And I would just say, just reach out, just reach out, call that number, call us. We are here to help, and we understand that life is not easy, and we can talk to you and decide if it's, if IOP is the best fit for you or if something else might be the best fit for you. But we are here, and and I know it can be difficult to make that initial call, so we just want to encourage that, if you're having that concern or that worry or that, that trepidation about making that initial call, just, we encourage you to just make that call.
Make that call. That's all it takes, you guys. Make that call, or you know what? We have the links for you on our As Seen on Day to Day page. We're making it even easier for you guys out there, okay? Thank you, ladies, so much for stopping by and sharing so many good tips and information on such an important day as well. So thank you guys for taking the time. We appreciate it.